Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to this 12th episode of Astrology and Health. I'm Dr. Laura Nassi, and this is my Conscious Life podcast. Thanks for being there. Thanks for listening. And happy to share what I'm discovering and what I'm experiencing applying the wisdom of astrology in medicine, and specifically in seeing patients with a cancer diagnosis. Or I'm happy to share what I've been learning due to my experience as an integrative oncologist and an astrologer. And the way I practice medicine is each time I see a new patient, I also look at their astrological chart in order to assess their energetic pattern and try to discern why and how this person went into an imbalance, an internal imbalance that led this person to a state of what we call vulnerable phenotype, a state of vulnerability, and got sick. And this is obviously not to try to blame oneself on how badly I've been living or how poorly I've been taking care of my body, but it is a way of understanding how emotions and our daily habits do affect our health, and gives us some guide, some clues on how to return to a healthier life, to healthier habits. So this is how I use astrology, and my experience is that every time I see a new patient, I just confirm that the energetics of how we live, based on our energetic imprint or blueprint that we can see in our astrological chart, combined with our habits, very much explain why one person gets a cancer diagnosis, and more so why this person gets his cancer diagnosis in that part of the body. Like, for example, yesterday I saw a 38-year-old man with a completely healthy in his past experience, without any diagnosis, and suddenly he has recently been diagnosed with cancer, with stomach cancer. And in his relating to me about his life and how he deals with his emotions, and clearly he's someone that he agrees he's someone who swallows his emotions, his mostly his strong emotions, like his anger and his irritability. And he's someone who may stay 2 days in his angry mood without talking to his relatives, to his wife, to the people he lives with, and just swallowing all that anger. And very, very interesting, in his chart he has a lot of fire, and in explaining to him how the third chakra, which is in precisely at the site of the stomach, pancreas area, and how imploding all this energy in that area affects the organs in that area, and how this might have led him to get sick and get a cancer diagnosis in that area of his body. And he clearly understanding, because in his story, in his history also, he relates to me that his father has died a few years back of a cancer diagnosis, of a stomach cancer diagnosis, and that he had copied in a way the way of dealing with emotions the same way his father did. So this is not a question of inheriting the genes, but inheriting habits or ways of dealing with emotions that then affect us in the same way that it affected, for example, in this case, his father and now himself. I explained to him that this is very personal. It doesn't mean that all his brothers will have the same diagnosis, because probably some of his brothers with a different blueprint, if they don't have so much fire, and even if they know how to even if they don't know how to deal with anger and kind of imploded, it's different in a person who has a lot of fire in his constitution than a person who has more water, air, earth, or who is more balanced, or a person who also knows how to deal with that fire in other ways. And one way, for example, is people who do sports, and especially sports that lead to express, not only sports, also like people who have some activity that leads to expression, and expression throughout the body, like dancing or theater. They may be dealing with this, even they don't know how to deal with their anger. They may be expressing all that fire in a way that it doesn't get imploded in their bodies. So this is very personal. It doesn't mean that everybody who had a father who didn't know how to deal with anger and who got stomach cancer will also get stomach cancer. This is not a linear. It doesn't go in a linear fashion. Specifically, what astrology helps us to understand, it's a more holistic way of thinking, and holistic in the sense of understanding how complex we are and how complex our lives are, and that linear way of thinking, A plus B equals C, it's kind of old paradigm, and now we need to understand that what led this person to get sick are various factors that in this person combined in a way that was unhealthy for him. But it doesn't mean that we cannot conclude that everybody who has a lot of fire will get stomach cancer, or conclude that everybody who has a father that doesn't know how to deal with anger will get stomach cancer. This is not the way we evaluate or we analyze or we perceive life through a complex eye. Through a complex eye, we learn how to see patterns, and patterns are combinations of various factors. So again, in this person, it was very clear that his habits and his way of dealing was dealing especially with anger, but in general with emotions. He's someone that is very much identified himself with working and being successful and really living more like a machine than a human being. So this brings us to today's topic, because in a couple of days we're having a new moon in the sign of Cancer. So the next 4 weeks will be sharing some information about the sign of Cancer. And Cancer is the first water sign in the zodiac, and water has to do with emotions. So this example I just gave is very much related to the topic of how do we deal with our feelings, with our emotions, and the way that we deal with our emotions may make us live much happier and much balanced and much more plentiful, being able to express and to really let all emotions pass through us, not only the good ones, also the what we call the difficult ones or the bad ones, but they all have some information for us. So living in contact with our feelings, with our emotions, it brings a more enriching, a more plentiful life. And on the other side, if we're just reacting to our emotions and we don't know how to deal with them, we don't know how to let them uh, flow through our bodies, then the energy may get stuck and we may get symptoms, and eventually we even may get may receive a diagnosis of cancer or something else. This is usually in the beginning, when we have when the feelings are not flowing freely and in a healthy way through our bodies. We may start feeling that energy that is stuck, or feeling the places where the energy is accumulated, like people who may get some gastritis or stomachache, or problems with digestion, because energy is not flowing freely in their abdomens, in their digestive system, and then eventually may get a diagnosis of gastritis or ulcer, or even cancer, like this young man. But it doesn't mean that everybody that doesn't know how to deal with emotions will get a physical diagnosis. But yes, we may get symptoms, like people who don't whose energy accumulate more in their heads, and they get headaches, or what we call tension headaches, and that can get alleviated if we start dealing better with those energies, and start, for example, doing sports or doing some meditation or yoga practices that allow energy to circulate in a healthier way through our bodies. So in preparation for this new moon in Cancer, in the Cancer sign, and Cancer again is the first sign of water, which has to do with emotions, and specifically Cancer, of the three signs of the three water signs, is the sign that has to do with our feelings, with our human contact. It has to do also with everything that nourishes us, and with our first contact with someone who loved us and protected us, which is our mother. The ruler of Cancer is the moon, so there is a lot in Cancer that has to do with that sense of how we were taken care of, how we were protected, how we were nourished, but also how we nourish ourselves, how we protect ourselves, how we take care of ourselves. So we'll be discussing about this self-care and the importance of this self-care, the importance of protecting ourselves, and knowing how to put healthy limits and say no to things that are not good for us. And also we'll be discussing or sharing how to deal with emotions. I had the opportunity for a few years to practice a specific type of yoga, which comes from the Tibetan tradition, which is Kum Nye. And this yoga focuses specifically on the feelings. So one learns how to explore the body and detect and sense all these different kinds of feelings, sensations, emotions in the body. And Kumnye means space and energy. With the practice of Kumnye, what we learn is to create more space within our bodies, in order to let the energy flow freely through our bodies. So this is a very interesting practice, specifically for what we're discussing now, as people who don't know how to deal with emotions. It's important that they learn how to recognize the flow of emotions coming from emotion. It's energy in motion. So learn how to perceive the motion of the energy within us, and learn how to recognize when it gets stuck, or when there's places where the flow is disconnected, or it doesn't flow, and to practice exercises that allow again that circulation, that flow of the energy within our bodies. So there are some very interesting exercises in Kumye which allow us to precisely to learn how to be aware of sensations and feelings, and learn how to allow them to flow more in a healthier way. So we will be sharing all this in the next few weeks in relation to the sign of Cancer. We have been, since the beginning of the year, exploring each of the signs of the zodiacs in accordance to the lunation cycles. So we're just finishing a lunation cycle in Gemini, and we will be starting this new lunation in the 9th of July in the moon in the sign of Cancer. So a good month to reflect on how we all deal with our emotions, how we express our emotions, to reflect on if we have an activity, a discipline that allows us to express ourselves on a daily basis or on a regular basis, something like writing or painting or dancing or playing theater, playing an instrument. If we do have some type of expressing ourselves, or some type of creative activity where we can practice spontaneity, being spontaneous and being creative, and allowing our expressions to flow. This is very important to maintain ourselves healthy, or to regain our health. So I invite you to start thinking about this, and especially during this month, and maybe some of you will recall of some activity that you used to do and that was good, made you feel good, and made you feel good. That's a very good clue. Everything that makes us feel good. So go back to the feelings, to how our body is expressing. If our body feels good with one activity, that is probably the way to go, because that's a language of the body, through feelings and sensations, and that is the way the body guides us to which type of life is good for us, which type of life is healthy and happier for us. So feelings are a good guide to draw us towards activities and habits that are good for us, and to draw us away from those that are not good for us. So take a few moments to recall, and sometimes it's things that we did in our childhood that really we enjoyed. A lot of times it has to do with being in nature, having some free time, some creative time, no agenda, being able to express ourselves. Take a few moments to recall what made you feel good, and are you including enough of that in your weekly agenda? Is that part of your current life? And if not, see whether you can commit yourself to start exploring again some of these activities that make you feel good, because this is important medicine. This is important to regain your health and to keep you healthy. So I hope that this type of this moments of reflection and being synchronized to whatever is going in the heavens, and trying to live more according to the seasons and to whatever cycles and zeitgeist is currently going on, will start also helping you to get into your own rhythm, to your own healthy rhythm, and to start integrating all these activities, all these practices that will help you regain a healthier and happier life. So I hope some of this may help you may guide you in your path, in your healing path. And I'll see you next week. I'm Dr. Laura Nassi. Please comment or give a like or share with your friends if this is interesting for you, if this is helping you. And please also comment if there's issues you would like me to discuss or to explore together in these weekly meetings. So thank you for listening to my Conscious Life podcast. This is Astrology and Health. I wish you all very sensible and sensitive week in synchronicity with your feelings and trying to find moments where you really feel good.